Once upon a time in Sudan. Welcome to JTV.
History for ourselves.
Look at it, it's just crazy. The actual desert. There's a lot of bad news around these days, but is the world really all that bad? In many of these apparently bad places are amazing people and experiences you wouldn't be able to have anywhere else.
Oh my god, I lead a strange life.
See, you probably think you know Pakistan, but I bet you didn't know I had beaches like this. And I'm going to prove it to you. My name's Benjamin Zand, and I'm going on a trip to the places people would tell you not to.
I'm pretty sure they all think I play for Liverpool because I'm wearing a Liverpool jersey. It was a bad choice.
To see what life is really like.
And this time, it's Sudan! I've got a 4x4 because I'm going on a road trip. To get there, I have to drive 5 hours down a magical river called the Nile. But this isn't Egypt. This is Sudan, the home of over 200 Nubian pyramids, more than Egypt itself. At the moment, I currently have nowhere to sleep or any food to eat because it's Ramadan, but I do have 2 friends to show me the way. So, this will be very fun. Let's go. Wish me luck. Hey guys, high fives from the car. How's it going? Nice to see you. I'm gonna give you a hug soon. How's it going? Nice to see you, man.
How's it going, man?
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, no problem, for sure.
So, where are we going?
We're going to the Naga temples and the Mayor pyramids.
Okay,
Yeah,
how long have we got to?
about like 4 or 5 hours.
That's a long drive. Probably should go. Do you have any Sudanese car games that we can play?
You can put on your headphones and listen to your own music.
That's not a game, that's just being antisocial.
Yeah, that's being Sudanese. No.
And so we were off on a very long and very hot road trip. Soon it was time for our first stop, coffee. The Sudanese love their coffee, and for good reason.
Do you want to know why I like coffee in Sudan?
Why?
Because it never goes cold. Does it annoy you that not many people know about these pyramids?
It actually does, because Sudan has a very rich history, because like the country is so diverse, it's huge. It was one of the biggest countries in Africa. So that brings like a lot of diversity because we're influenced by Arabs, African countries, and everything. But people don't know about all of that. People only know about what the media usually shows: the wars, the starvations, blah blah blah. Exactly. It doesn't show anything that's rich, anything that would actually interest people into coming here. They wouldn't even believe it. They're like, okay, pyramids, Egypt, Nile, Egypt.
And sometimes that's really kind of make you sad because like this country have like a lot of potential, a lot of
history, a
lot.
exactly.
As we set off again, we soon came across the ancient city of Naga.
I can only imagine the civilization that was here, that did this. It's like walking in history.
It's the middle of nowhere.
It's like just bug wire, that's it, that I can go through easily.
It's protected by like a 12-year-old kid. It's beautiful though. I look at that, the engravings on there.
This is a ruined ancient city, one of the largest ruin sites in the country. Back in the day, it was an important part of the Cushitic kingdom of Meroe, due to its proximity to the Nile, and it served as a bridge between the Mediterranean world and Africa. But now, it lies pretty much unprotected. The only real protection here comes from a group of villagers who periodically visit the well to get water.
This is the closest thing to security of these temples. These are the local villagers who came here to get water. That's pretty much it. There's no one else around.
As we explored further, we found some bones on the other side of the ruins.
There are bones in there.
I know. That is actually crazy though.
It is.
Looks like thigh bones.
It looks raw, like it's so untouched. No one's been inside.
As it was getting late, we journeyed on. The roads here are long, and the sun sets fast. And soon we realised the pyramids would have to wait till the following day. We stopped at a roadside restaurant to eat.
We're having shaya, which is sort of a barbecue, but not a real own idea of what barbecue is. Then there's food, which is the local, like traditional food in Sudan. Basically, everyone here eats it.
After the meal, as we had nowhere to stay, we asked around and found a man willing to accommodate us. The only catch was that we were going to be sleeping outside.
We're actually sleeping outside.
Which, to my surprise, isn't all that uncommon here in Sudan.
So do people actually sleep outside in Sudan?
Basically, in towns, most people sleep outside because the sun works as a natural alarm. They mostly need to wake up early, like first break of light, to go as their farmers and stuff.
What do they wear though? Because I mean, I like to sleep either in my underpants or, you know, completely naked. So how does that work? I mean, 'cause I'm probably going to do that right now, so you guys better get used to it.
Fresh with the knowledge I was going to be sleeping in my undies, me and my new friends drifted off. The next morning, it was finally time to see what we had came here for. We got up early and made a quick stop at a coffee shop a mile away from the pyramids. Despite being so close, the owner told me neither he or any of his friends or family had ever been taught the history of the pyramids.
Growing up, did you kind of tell each other stories about what the pyramids were?
والله بتسمع بعض الشيء لكن ما كل المعلومات هي بتجي صحيحة.
Did people used to be scared of the pyramids?
يلا ما بيخافوا لكن المسألة كان ما بيعرفوا عنها حاجة. يعني في الفترة دي يقول لي التراث بتاع البلد دي كانت دلوقة والصوت
Then we journeyed on to see them for ourselves. On arrival, it was more impressive than I had imagined. We had the entire place to ourselves.
Whoa. How'd you feel? You made it.
We made it. My legs, I can't feel my legs.
Alright, so we're actually in the middle of the desert, kind of.
We got history for ourselves.
Look at it, it's just crazy. And they just sit here completely unguarded. Look at it, this is just like the actual desert.
These Nubian pyramids are over 4,000 years old and are a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Despite that though, they're completely deserted. Visitor numbers are tiny, about 15,000 a year compared to the millions that go to the pyramids in Egypt. And due to being completely unprotected, the pyramids and the history here
have been damaged and vandalized. So you have a bit of a split conscience here because there's no one here, you can do whatever you want and there's so many things you do want to do. But you also want to respect history.
Exactly. Even though clearly not many have respected it.
Still, it was like nothing I'd ever seen. The door is even unlocked to one of the pyramids. Mazen gave me a bit of a history lesson on what I was seeing.
There are more pyramids in this section alone than in the entire Egypt. It's about 220 pyramids. You can notice that most of the heads of the pyramids are chopped off. That's an Italian explorer. He came here in the 1830s and he chopped off like 40 pyramids searching for gold. And we still don't know what he found.
Do you know what they were used for?
Yes, they're actually tombs for the black pharaohs and the queens back in the days. They buried them here with their belongings, gold and everything. It's a sort of respect for the kings of Kush.
What's the difference between these pyramids and those in Egypt?
It's mostly the size. The pyramids in Egypt are a lot bigger. These would go up to 40 meters. But then again, the number of the pyramids themselves makes the difference. There are about 220 pyramids here, which is a lot more than the entire country of Egypt, like the pyramids here.
Just on this desert?
Just on this desert alone.
You can just see them for kind of miles, can't you?
Exactly. Like
It was coming to the end of an unexpected and surprising trip. I had seen a side to Sudan that I never thought I would. The history and stories Sudan holds are things you don't hear about too often. But when you see them for yourself, it's something you'll remember forever.
Every year, the world produces some 500 million tons of iron. The history of this metal goes back thousands of years. Several ancient civilizations learned to manufacture iron, including the Hittites, whose empire thrived in what is now Turkey in around 1600 to 1200 BC. Later, the Assyrians used iron weapons during their invasion of Egypt in the 7th century BC. In the 4th century BC, the manufacture and trade of iron led to the rise of another empire, Kush, which became a powerful trading center located near the modern-day border of Egypt and Sudan in northeast Africa. Much of Kush bordered the Sahara, but the city of Meroe, in the southern part of the country, was dotted with trees. The people of Kush used this timber to fire the furnaces they used to produce iron. In addition, Meroe had a rich supply of iron ore, the mineral from which iron is made. Meroe was also located not far from the Red Sea, which gave Kush good access to the major trading centers further south. In addition to iron, the people of Kush traded gold, jewelry, pottery, and ivory. Meroe thrived for nearly 1,000 years. During that time, the Kushites developed an advanced society, adopted some Roman-style architecture, and developed their own written language. The Kush Empire also gave women more political power than did most other ancient empires. In fact, several Kush monarchs were women. But just as iron had an impact on the rise of Kush, it also had an effect on its fall. Meroe's economy began to suffer during the 4th century AD. One reason for the decline may have been the loss of forests in Nubia, where trees were harvested to fuel the iron industry. In about AD 350, the neighboring kingdom of Aksum invaded Kush, and the Kush Empire fell. Today, Kush is largely forgotten, but the metal that helped build the empire is still important in all our lives today.
A land rich in culture, embroiled in a struggle for independence. That's South Sudan for you. Born from the ashes of Africa's longest civil war, it's a country with a history as deep as the Nile itself. Before the 19th century, South Sudan was a mosaic of ethnic groups, each with its own traditions and languages. Then in the late 1800s, the British and Egyptians swooped in, establishing the Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. Fast forward to 1956, Sudan gains independence, but it's not all rosy. The South feels marginalized, sparking a brutal civil war that would last over 2 decades. But this isn't the end of the story. In 2005, a peace agreement is signed, a glimmer of hope. 6 years later, in 2011, South Sudan proudly declares independence, becoming the world's youngest nation. A new chapter begins and the journey continues. South Sudan's history is a testament to resilience and determination, a story of a people's fight for identity and self-determination. And though the road has been rough, the spirit of the South Sudanese remains unbroken.
Where the human race began. Nearly 1 billion people live here. And it's a continent with an incredible diversity of communities and cultures. Yet we know less of its history than almost anywhere else on Earth. But that's beginning to change. In the last few decades, researchers and archaeologists have begun to uncover a range of histories as impressive and extraordinary as anywhere else on Earth. It's a history which has been neglected for years, and it's largely without written records. But it is preserved for us in the gold and statues, in the culture, art, and legends of the people. My name is Gus Casely Hayford. Over many years, I've studied the history and culture of Africa. As an art historian, I'm used to drawing stories from mute objects from the past. I'm going to discover the history and find out what really happened to the lost kingdoms of Africa. I'm beginning my search in the far north of the continent, in what is now known as the Sudan. I'm looking for the legendary kingdom of Nubia. Nubia is the traditional name for the northern part of Sudan, near the Egyptian border. For thousands of years, a civilization dominated the area there, in what's now the Eastern Sahara. It's first mentioned by the ancient Egyptians as a primitive outpost, a source of slaves and treasure, dancing girls and wrestlers. To the Romans too, it was a barbarian wasteland. Yet these people were conquerors in their own right, ultimately defeated not by their rivals, but by their environment. Nubia has left us some of the most spectacular monuments, not only in Africa, but in the whole world. There are more pyramids here than there are in Egypt. This was a major civilization, but its history is barely remembered. So what was Nubia actually like? How powerful was it? And what happened to it in the end? To begin my search, I'm leaving the Sudanese capital Khartoum and flying north into Nubia.
This is every schoolboy's dream. This ancient old helicopter is going to take us up to see some of the ancient Nubian sites. I've got this fantastic guide here. This is Mahmoud. It's going to help to tell me what some of the sites mean.
Mahmoud Bashir is one of Sudan's most respected archaeologists. He's taking me on a journey, not just through space, but time, going back nearly 10,000 years, to the time when humans first began to plant crops and to keep domestic animals. We're going northwards along the Nile. If it weren't for the Nile and its irrigation, this whole scene would be desert. And from the air, it's easy to see how narrow the cultivation strip really is. But Mahmoud tells me we're going to leave the green corridor of the Nile and head out into the desert proper. Out here is one of the toughest places on Earth. The temperature here is more than 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and yet there are still people working here. This is where I'm going to start my journey, right in the back of beyond. We've flown more than 250 miles north from Khartoum into the middle of the Nubian desert. 15,000 square miles of arid sandstone with scarcely a single oasis. From here, we're going to drive across the scorching sands. And Mahmoud tells me we're going to start with the very beginnings of Nubian culture. More than 7,000 years ago.
Oh, it's hot. It's baking. What are you doing to me? I can't believe we've come out here. It feels like the middle of nowhere. It's one of the driest, most remote places I've ever been. But Mahmoud says that here there's something that makes all the suffering we've gone through really worthwhile. So let's have a look. But why did you bring me out here?
Actually, because this is it's very important place, and here actually where our story will begin. Something interesting.
Oh, it's a bell.
It's not a bell, but it's what we call the rock gong.
So how old is this, Mahmoud?
It's not less than 5,000
5,000 years.
BC.
Wow. So I'm playing a 5,000 BC instrument.
Yes.
The actual sound is the natural result of the consistency of the rock, but it's been worn smooth by the actions of people playing it more than 7,000 years ago. Long before the Romans, long before the pharaohs. This is a sign of human civilization.
So would they sing along to this?
I don't know exactly, but I think they can imagine more dancing than singing.
More dancing.
In the last few years, archaeologists have found hundreds of rock gongs like this in the Nubian desert. Possible evidence of a sizable population.
I imagine you'd be able to hear it from a long distance.
From a long distance, and I think we think actually it's the same as what we have now about the drum language in Africa.
Yes.
It's probably it was doing the same function at that time.
Archaeologists think the people here may have used the rock gongs to communicate across the valleys. And that this is the beginning of the Nubian culture. But why here? This is the middle of one of the harshest deserts in the world. Mahmoud has something to show me. It's been a secret until recently.
Now I will show you a very special thing. Oh, have a look at it.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. It's cattle.
Yeah,
And how old is that?
something like 5,000, 6,000 BC.
BC, 5,000, 6,000. It's just astounding. When were these discovered?
It's just last March. Can you imagine?
Last March.
We are in August.
not many people have seen
months ago. Yes, you are the second after the mission who discovered the site.
Really?
Really, you are the second to be here.
Rock art is the oldest form of pictorial representation known. Research has shown that the pictures are unlikely to be just a depiction of everyday life. Instead, they concentrate on subjects that are of great significance to the people who made them. So I'm amazed to discover that out here, deep in the Nubian desert, they should be making images of cattle.
But this is desert, though.
But it was in the desert in 7 or 6,000 BC.
Mahmoud tells me it's a story of catastrophic climate change. Recent research has shown that some 7,000 years ago, most of the Sahara was in fact green. You can see the outlines of dry valleys or wadis. They were once big rivers which flowed into the Nile. And between them stretched grassland savannas of the kind that you have to go much further south to see today.
So this area here
once upon a time would have had grass in it, it would have been lush, it would have supported cattle and or probably complex communities.
Yes, and even wild animals.
What kind of animals might it?
Yeah, actually, based on the rock drawings we have around here, we have lions, we have elephants, we have giraffes.
So the wildlife and the ecology of sub-Saharan Africa once existed.
Yes.
That's amazing. And this is the proof of that.
Yeah.
So you can imagine sort of the cattle, well, with a stretch of the imagination, the cattle in this valley, the river just down there,
Yes.
and people, someone at some point coming up here and with one of these stones just
And
making this
depicting all this kind of drawings.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe the same people who play the rock gong are the same who depict these drawings here.
Thank you for watching Once Upon a Time in Sudan, JTV.